the dungeon of my black
But of all the versions of Leroux's famous story to date, one has captured the public imagination more than any other. The story begins in 1984.
deep as hell.
The original musical came out in a sort of rather convoluted way, like they always do. Sarah Brightman, who I was just about to get married to, was asked if she would do a production of The Phantom of the Opera that was going to use real opera arias by a guy called Ken Hill. And Sarah decided she didn't want to do it. And Cameron Mackintosh and I went to go and see it.
And to our surprise, and I don't mean this in any condescending way, we thought it was really rather good. And we were, in fact, so taken with it, we decided to meet up with the writer and director and talk about us possibly bringing the show in to London.
We spoke to Ken about the idea, and we started to develop it with him.
And the more we worked with him, the more we realised that actually we weren't being able to improve his vision of it. I mean, he'd done a jolly good job, and other than tarted up slightly, we didn't really have anything to bring to the party.
Cut to sort of 6 months later, I'm in New York and sort of moseying around one Sunday afternoon with not a lot to do, and I go into one of these book fair places, you know, and there, sitting there, was a copy of The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux for sort of like, 50 cents or something. I mean, it was something like that. I thought, well, I got nothing to do this afternoon, I'll just buy this book and read it. And I read it, and of course, I mean, it's a confused book, to put it mildly. It can't work out what it is exactly, whether it's a love story, whether it's a detective story, or whether or not it's some kind of thriller, whether or not it's some kind of piece of history that is being told. He's completely all over the shop with it.
And we thought it was a jolly good plot and rather badly written.
Of course, the thing that suddenly came zinging out to me was that it had all these bits of high romance, which I had absolutely no idea about.
1984... I think we were doing Starlight on Broadway, and Andrew gave me this book and said, do you think this will make a musical? And, I mean, if you had to pick a subject for a musical, there are certain rules for musicals about things that they have to have in them in order to make them work, most of which are based on whether it's going to be daft when people burst into song or not. Because basically that's what you have to get over with an audience, is that moment when people start singing. So there has to be passion and obsession so that just words aren't enough, so that the song has to start. And The Phantom of the Opera is about one of the great obsessives in history.